we're having a technical difficulty, but I'm going to go ahead and get started so we don't waste any more time, and we'll switch to our gorgeous spaces in a moment. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Raful. I am your host of Camp Broadway's At This Stage. Thanks to our partners here at Streamable Learning, I am live in my apartment in New York City, connecting you with Broadway professionals both on and off the stage. With you, our teachers, students, and families across the country, especially today, we got all the way to California. We'll be together for the next 35 minutes or so feel free to start sending me those questions and comments you have in our Q&A, and I will get to as many of them as I can, I absolutely promise. I am so excited to share with you our guest today, or to introduce you to our guest today, Joshua Holden. Hi, Joshua.
Hi, Anna.
Josh, I'm going to give you Joshua's bio here before we get into the nitty gritty. So Joshua is an award-winning international puppeteer, actor, and joymaker whose show, The Joshua Show, has appeared in premier performing arts centers across all of North America and Canada and internationally. Joshua's other highlights in his career include performing on the Broadway national tour of Avenue Q, and freelancing, there we are, and freelancing for the Jim Henson Company as a puppet wrangler on Sesame Street. Hi, Joshua, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Anna.
How are you? Where are you? How are you feeling today?
I am in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I am feeling today, I'm feeling good. I knew this was coming up, so I know that today is a Wednesday. I haven't known what day of the week it was for a while, so I had something to do today, so I'm excited to know that.
I'm happy.
We're on a Wednesday today.
We're on a Wednesday. I love it.
Yep.
All right, before we get to the puppets, because I know that's what everyone logged in for, but let's go back to the beginning. What is your earliest memory of childhood, of theater? How were you introduced to theater? All that good stuff.
I was introduced to theater when I was about 6 years old. My mother took me to see a production of The Wizard of Oz at the North Shore Music Theater, which is a really well-known regional theater, which is like regional theaters are theaters that are all around the country. And North Shore Music Theater is a wonderful theater just in Massachusetts. And I was very lucky at the time. I didn't realize that the theater, all the shows were cast with incredible Broadway actors, and it was my first exposure to theater was really special because there were some incredible artists up there getting me excited about this art form that has kept me interested my whole life. So yeah, I started at North Shore Music Theater up in Massachusetts was my first memory.
And then did you immediately say, Mom, I want to take classes, I want to start singing?
Didn't even get to intermission. I was like, I've got to get up there. I was also obsessed with the Wicked Witch of the West. So I was like, whoa, that was so cool. But yeah, I without any prompting from my parents, no one in my family is very artistic, but no one's an actor or performer. And I just begged and begged to get into some sort of theater class. And so I signed up for acting when I was 7 years old at this studio in Massachusetts.
And then you were fortunate to go to Walnut Hill for not all of high school, but part of high school, right?
Yeah, so at the age of 7, I started taking these classes and quickly realized, my family quickly realized that I was very serious about this. Like, just very, very serious. I wanted to go to we got season tickets to North Shore Music Theater, and I saved all my playbills, and I got all the recordings of every show we saw, and I'd learn them, and my mom would be playing AC/DC downstairs, and I'd come down and be like, will you please turn the music down? I'm trying to listen to Showboat. So I'd go back up in my bedroom and listen to these musicals. And then high school came around, and this desire and this passion and this seriousness really still stuck. And my parents the whole time were just, I was in community theater and I was kind of a big fish in a small pond, and they would just constantly look at me and think, who are you? Where did you come from? Like, where are you getting this interest and this passion and this real respect for it? And so I sat my parents down at age of 15, and I said, I want you to send me to boarding school. There's an arts boarding school in Massachusetts, and I want to go there. I want to study. I'm serious about this. I want to go and study acting. My parents said, you want to move away from home at 16 to go study? And I'm like, yes. And they looked at the tuition and they were like, there's no way we're ever going to afford this. And I said, please, having no idea that, things cost money. You're like, just go to the bank and get some money. And so we went to this school and I auditioned, and I got accepted, and I got a full tuition to this school. And I moved away from home at 16 and got incredible training. It was like going to Hogwarts for the arts.
Musical theater.
Yeah, it was amazing. So that was in high school, and so that really kicked me off into the world in the most amazing way.
And did that influence your choice of college or what you wanted to focus on with college?
Yeah. I mean, I knew that I wanted to continue doing this my whole life. So when I got to Walnut Hill, they laid out the options for me, and I ended up going to Chicago College of Performing Arts, Roosevelt University, out in Chicago, and studied musical theater for 2 years, and then switched from musical theater to regular acting my junior and senior year, and graduated with a degree in acting. Yeah, I went to Anne Ranking's Broadway theater project back in 2003. And I got to work with
kids. Look her up.
Oh yes, you must. And it was all the Broadway greats were coming down there, and my acting was definitely the strongest suit that I had. And someone gave me the advice at the time, whether it was right or not. He said, if you go into an audition as an actor with an acting degree, and you can sing and dance as well as you can, it's going to be more impressive than if you go in with a musical theater degree and you can act as well as you can with the skill, because they're going to expect more of you. I don't know if that's true or not, but I said, okay, sure. And so I went back to school and I said, I'm changing my major, which didn't really matter in the end. I still got an amazing education, and I made my career and I made my life what I wanted to. I took what I wanted to and made the choices that I wanted. So it for me, it didn't really personally matter if I was majoring in musical theater or regular acting.
There are many different paths to get to wherever you.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's make this. So then, when did puppets happen? What was your first introduction into the world of puppetry, besides probably growing up with Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, so I liked puppets growing up. I thought they were cool. That's about it. And after college, I worked in the theater scene in Chicago for a couple years, and I was low on money, and the Chicago Children's Theater messaged me. They probably called me. They messaged each other. They called.
Mail.
Yes, we used the actual phone connected to the wall. They called and said that there was a master puppeteer looking for an assistant to help him build this new show, and to be an outside eye to watch the production during rehearsals, and eventually take over and be his understudy and perform 3 shows during the week while he did the weekend shows. And it was $500 a week. And I thought, oh my God, $500. That pays my whole rent in 1 week. My rent was $400 for my 3-bedroom apartment in Chicago. And so I auditioned, and he gave me a piece of paper, and he's this beautiful, beautiful Buddhist puppeteer. His name is Blair Thomas, and he has just the most incredible, organic, spiritual connection with these puppets. And he gave me a piece of paper, and he said, now I want you to be the wind. And I was like, the wind? He's like, here, take this piece of paper. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I walked around the room, and I got home. My roommate said, how'd the audition go? And I said, I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea what just happened. And they called, and they gave me the job. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so Blair saw that I had 0 training, and he taught me everything. He said, this is the first step you do, is you pick up an object and you ask the object, what does it want to do, rather than what do you want it to do? And then make it breathe, and then it'll tell you what to do. And I said, okay, sure. Hey, little object, what do you want to do? And then I just started doing this. And I realized later that my initial training was amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. It was like it's like your first voice teacher being Audra McDonald. And like, yeah, I had this nice voice teacher who had really nice hair and she had a pretty little voice. And you're like, wait, no, you're with Audra McDonald here. So I was with an incredible great. And then I faked it for a while. And people like, oh, you're a puppeteer. And I was like, how much you paying me? Oh, yes, I am a puppeteer. Yes. So that was the start of it. And then I just kept kind of faking it until I found myself in a room and I was like, I know what I'm talking about here. Yeah.
What was when was that moment? I mean, what was the switch into, there's something here, I can make something, I can create something that fulfilled me?
Creating something that fulfills me is a different question than,
okay.
So when I first recognized that I had this skill to bring something to life was probably in the auditions for Avenue Q.
Okay.
I went in there and did, I auditioned for Nikki Trekkie Monster, and which is sort of like an Ernie voice and a Cookie Monster voice. Excuse me. And I sang "I Don't Need Anything But You" between Nikki and from Annie, between Nikki and Trekkie Monster. So with those two voices and switch back and forth, and they gave me a puppet, and I put this on and used what I know how to do, and they were like, "Oh, wow!" And then I got in the room with all these other amazing actors and realized that I was the only puppeteer in the room, only person considered to be a puppeteer, and I could see the difference between what I was doing and what they were doing, and I thought, oh, yeah, this is working. Yeah.
What is it? What would you, I mean, how can you explain that a little further about like what you do with a puppet that might be different? I mean, if someone is starting out, what are a couple of things to look out for that you, when you teach, just because I know you teach a lot of puppetry, is what are sort of the beginnings for our fellow aspiring puppeteers? Yeah.
So puppetry, a good puppeteer. So my most favorite thing to do when teaching, my most favorite people to teach are actors, because if you're an actor, you got all these skills there, and it's just about learning technique. It's just about taking these acting skills and taking these storytelling skills that we have and putting them into a puppet. Now, if I worked with someone who has amazing skill, so you have lip syncing, so you match your hand with your mouth, and people can be very proficient in this. But if they don't know how to act, you're not going to give the illusion that this thing is alive. So puppeteer's job is to give the illusion that an inanimate object is alive, and that when I see puppet theater, I want to be on the edge of my seat with my heart open, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm connecting with this thing. So I think, so what makes something come to life? You have breath. Breath is the essence of life. So that's the first and foremost thing I do with any puppet, or thing I look for in whatever puppet you're using. And truth. So breath and truth, which there we go. That's acting. I mean, you're singing a song. Where does breath come in? How are you breathing? How does that affect the character? Why is the character breathing in this way? And then telling the truth. It's all the same. It's just through a different art form, but it's everything that I love about theater, and specifically musical theater, all just put into a whole new medium.
We have a question from Erica. How do you keep the people from seeing you?
I don't, Erica. I love when the people see me. So there are some people, like on Sesame Street. Here, I'll show you this right now. Can I show you a picture?
Yes, please.
So when you're working on film, so this was a class that I took at Sesame Street, and you'll see there, you can see that, yes?
No, not yet.
Oh, all right.
There it is.
Yeah?
Yes.
You know? So you can see me in the front there with that little pink character, and we have our arms above our heads. And so what we're doing is there's a TV monitor in front of us, and you can see to the right of the screen there, that's all the puppets that you're seeing to the left. So to keep yourself hidden there, you're below the frame. So your puppets are all above your head. So that's the way you would do that in television. But with the work that I do, I don't want to, how do I unshare? How do I stop that?
You got to stop sharing. Go back to your Zoom.
That's
There
what
you go.
that button says. Stop sharing. Button signs and buttons really can get you through the day. So that Erica is how you would hide yourself if you're on television. But the style of puppetry that I do, I'm on stage with the puppets. So my puppets are right next to me. I'm not a ventriloquist. So ventriloquists, you don't see their mouths moving. My mouth moves, my face, I have full facial expressions. And it's just the focus that I use with the puppet that I can't quite explain it because I don't watch it very much. So, but yeah, I don't hide on stage. And I think that's, for me, an exciting thing. As an audience member, you can see how the puppet is moving. And so yeah, there you go.
So take us then to the birth of the Joshua Show. How did this come to be? And we're so grateful that it is.
Oh, me too. So I was working a job called Peter Pan 360, and we traveled all around the nation with this big giant show, and the show closed. I expected to be on the tour for probably another year and a half, and it ended due to financial reasons. They ran out of money. So I had no place to live. I had no place to go. So I went on a road trip across the country and found myself in Chicago and was asked to do a puppet slam, which is like a short little, it's like a cabaret evening with short 10-minute pieces. And a friend of mine encouraged me to make something with her. And I said, sure, I'll make something with you. I've never done a puppet slam. And she last minute said, I can't do it, but you should do it on your own. And I thought, I've never done anything like this on my own. I don't make my own work. Like I work for other people. And she said, well, what do you daydream about? And I said, I daydream about making content and making work that just fills people with joy, that makes people feel really happy. And she said, well, then do that. There's going to be 40 people in the audience. It doesn't matter. And I thought, okay. So I made this little thing. I made a couple puppets and I wrote this little script. I had a ukulele I was traveling with, and I knew like 4 chords. So I wrote 2 songs with 4 chords.
That's all you need.
And then we did it that evening. I took a chance, and I was going to throw all the puppets away and move on after that. And people afterwards said, is this part of a full-length piece? And I said, no, it's just some little sketch that I made. And that was about 7 years ago. And now we've traveled all around the world. We went out to Israel. The show is translated into Hebrew subtitles, which was so crazy. I travel all around North America. I don't really have any other work other than my work at Camp Broadway. So I'm funding my life through my art, through art that I'm creating, which is so exciting. And I get to wear many, many hats, which is also exciting. It's something I think that we do so well with the Shining Stars program at Camp Broadway, is where, you have this idea that you're coming to a camp, learn about musical theater. And yes, you do, but you leave with an appreciation knowing that there's so many other, you go see a show and I never quite realized how many people and how many hats need to be worn to make that thing happen. And what I do right now is a total celebration of that. And there's lots of hats that I don't want to wear, and I can't wait to have somebody else come in and do them. But boy, do I appreciate a stage manager and a company manager and all sorts of
so many
people that make theater come to life.
All right, we have a number of questions about how you create your puppets. All the puppets in your show have been created by you. What can you take us through the steps? Is there anybody you want to introduce us to?
Yeah, so I have some
around.
Yeah, so I have someone. He is, he's the best. He is my right-hand man. He's my soulmate, and he's my best friend in the whole world. And his name is Mr. Nicholas. And Mr. Nicholas is a sock puppet. Mr. Nicholas, come here. Come here. Hey, wake up. Boy, what's going on? No, come here. What's going on? Well, you and I are live on the internet. We're live on the internet. Yes, we're live on the internet. And who's watching us on the internet? Well, there's a bunch of people watching us on the internet from all across the world. Why? What do they expect to get out of this? Well, we're having a little conversation with Camp Broadway. Camp Broadway? Yes, Camp Broadway. I don't think I'd like Camp Broadway. Why? Well, musical theater is too happy for me. Oh, well, maybe Camp Broadway wouldn't be for you, Mr. Nicholas, but it's for a lot of people out there. And, I actually think you might like it. Really? Yeah, really. It's a great place for you. You can challenge yourself. While you think you don't like singing and dancing, maybe by the end of the week, you may actually end up enjoying it. Really? Really? So what am I doing on here? I'm not Camp Broadway. Well, I work for Camp Broadway, and we're talking a little bit about puppetry, and I thought maybe I'd show you off a little bit. Show me off, huh? Yeah, show you off. Can we show you off? Sure. All right. So Mr. Nicholas is a sock puppet. That's very true. And Mr. Nicholas, his hands have these little rods. I'm going to back you up, okay? Have these little rods on them. Yes, they do. And if I want Mr. Nicholas to dance, you put your hands to one side, yes, and body to the other. Now switch. Okay, then what? Then over and over. Ready? Ba-bum, 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 bum, 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 ba-bum, bum, ba-bum, bum, ba-bum, bum, bum. Yeah. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum, bum, 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 ba-bum, bum, 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 ba-bum, bum, bum. Yeah. Very good, Mr. Nicholas. Now, can we explain how your mouth moves? Sure. All right, so how his mouth moves is what I showed you a little bit earlier with lip syncing. So my hand is inside here, actually like this, my hand is. Really? Yes. That's what I look like naked. Yes, this is what you look like naked, Mr. Nicholas. Okay, so we're gonna show them how to do this. So with your hand like this, we do the ABCs. Really? Yes, the ABCs, ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and so forth. Yeah, so you're learning how to match your jaw up to your mouth. Yes, it's true. Is that Anna Raful? Yes, that's Anna Raful. Oh, I love Anna Raful. Yeah, she's interviewing us.
I had some questions for Joshua.
Oh, good. What are they?
Oh, I've got more. You ready for some more questions?
Oh, yes, babe. We're ready for more questions.
Maybe Mr. Nicholas can talk about this, but Mary Alice wants to know, have you ever had any mistakes during the show?
Have I ever had any mistakes during the show? Yes. My finger fell off in the middle of a performance once. That's right. Mr. Nicholas's finger fell off in the middle of a performance. Yes, it was terrible. Yes, we looked for it all over the place. Yes, and we couldn't find it, so he replaced it with some masking tape. That's right, we did. We replaced it with masking tape. Yeah, so that's happened during the show. I have forgotten lyrics during the show sometimes. I've forgotten props before. And how did that make you feel? Well, it did not make me feel very good, but it's exciting. That's the part of live theater that gets it kind of like buzzy. Because when you're in the moment, you think, well, we can't just stop and start all over again. We got to figure out how we're going to get through this. And sometimes those are the most magical moments in the theater. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I know you have other hats that you've worn. Can we talk about the phrase puppet wrangler? What does that mean?
Ooh, I don't like to hear him talk about other puppets. Can I excuse myself?
Yes, maybe we'll get you back a little bit later.
Okay, good.
Okay, right. We'll see you in a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. He's in denial that I work with other puppets, so.
I understand.
A puppet wrangler. Ooh, puppet wrangling is fun. So puppet wrangler is the person that's responsible for taking care of all the puppets. So they're responsible for styling the puppets, for inspecting each and every one of them to make sure that their stitches are all together, that everything is exactly the way it should be, because in a live show like Avenue Q, which is a show that I worked on, I did the national tour, and I also worked off Broadway. So the national tour, I was in the ensemble and I understudied a few of the roles, which means I went in for somebody when they were sick or they're on vacation. I would step in and play their role. And then off Broadway, I moved into being a puppet wrangler. And so you have these 35 puppets that get used every day, 8 shows a week. And that is a lot on a puppet because they're not made out of steel. They're made out of fabric and foam that deteriorates and wears away. So it's the job of the puppet wrangler to make sure that they are all pristine and that things need to be, if they need to be mended, which oftentimes happen, we do that. Puppet wranglers are also there for Avenue Q. I was backstage making sure the puppets were in the right spot, where they should be at the appropriate moment, where there have been moments where I did not do that well. There was a moment where the guy playing Princeton was supposed to come off stage and get the puppet from me. He played two characters. So one person took this puppet off in the blackout, then he went stage left to get a puppet from me right there, and then goes back on stage, gets in the spotlight and starts singing. He goes to go off stage for me to give him the puppet. And I'm back in the puppet room having a sandwich, just having a good old time. And all of a sudden I hear the music and I think, oh no, I'm supposed to be backstage. So I go backstage and he's standing there and there's a pool of light on stage with nobody on it. And he starts singing backstage. And I'm like, oh no. So we go running to the other side of the stage. I give him the puppet, he puts it on his hand and he makes it on stage late. But he got on there. So the puppet wrangler in Avenue Q is very important. I can show you a little picture of something from Avenue Q here. So this is an example. So during the show, this is me and Dana Steingold, and Dana plays she plays the Girl Scout in Beetlejuice right now, or before we all went on pause for a moment. And she's playing Cake Monster, and you'll see me there with this little flashlight in my mouth. So I bite the flashlight and it puts light on Cake Monster, and then I can brush her little fur out. So I do that during the show. I make sure her hair looks really nice and that all the puppets are together. And that little blue thing on my chest there, that keeps all my pins. So throughout the show, the puppets, their hands get pinned and they get unpinned. So yeah, that's what a puppet wrangler does.
And you've also done that on Sesame Street.
I have. I worked on Sesame Street with some very exciting characters. You might recognize this one here. Where is that? I just shared the same thing, didn't I?
Nope, nothing.
Nope. Share screen. There we go. So that's me without a beard. And in the background, you'll see Mr. Snuffleupagus.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, you guys. It is just as exciting as you ever want it to be. So yes, I worked on Sesame Street for their 50th anniversary TV special with Whoopi Goldberg and Itzhak Perlman and Patti LaBelle. And on set one day, Patti LaBelle came to me and she said, honey, I love what's going on up here. And she referred to my mustache and I said, thank you, Patti. It was very fun. But even these big celebrities coming in, you know, they walk onto set to 1-2-3 Sesame, and you see the set and you see the puppets, and they just light up. It doesn't matter who you are. These characters, you know, were such a big part of our lives, and to be on set with them is one thing, but then for someone to look at you and say, hey, can you jump inside a Snuffleupagus and disinfect him and clean him out? And I'm like, yes, I can. So I crawl inside a Snuffy and see just this beautiful, the way these puppets are made are so beautiful. And yeah, it was so special that I was there tending to them and taking care of them. Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, I have a couple more questions here before you get rid of me for the day. Gail wants to know, are you inventing any new puppets? I know you have a new show that you're working on. Want to tell us about the new show?
Yeah, so the show I currently tour with is called The Joshua Show, and it's like a modern day Mr. Rogers. The show we currently tour with is about the importance of spreading joy in moments when you feel like the world around you is falling apart. And that's what I go around the country. That's the message we tell. And so we're creating a new show called The Joyfully Jolly Jamboree. And the Joyfully Jolly Jamboree is a holiday show. And it is a celebration of life between November and January and all the things that happen in that month, all the good things and all the bad things. So while there are there's some sing-alongs in the show. There are songs about what it's like to be freezing cold and the ways that makes you feel, and finding a positive spin on that. And the show it's more of like a musical concert, and it's full of puppets. There's lots of tap dancing in it and incredible songs. So that's going to be premiering. We have a couple shows this winter, and then we'll have a full tour in 2021.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We do have a request for any other puppets lying around. Anybody else want to say hello?
I wasn't prepared for this, but I have a giant bag right here. I don't know what's in it. Let me see.
I mean, I can talk to Mr. Nicholas all day, but if you do have anyone else around. We did have a question from Sarah while you're looking. Do you ever talk to the puppets when no one else is around?
Sometimes.
Question is, do they answer back?
No. I don't think I have any. I don't think I have any here to show you. Nope. I have nothing here to show you. I'm sorry. Do I talk? I'm not really one to really talk to my puppets when no one's around. No. Mr. Nicholas and I oftentimes talk to Mr. Nicholas about things in my head. Like he and I don't rehearse with Mr. Nicholas. I don't put him on to rehearse pieces. I know him so well. And, but there are situations in which, in the show I play, the ambassador of joy is what I call myself. And Mr. Nicholas, as you can tell, he's a little more somber, he's a little on the sad and depressed side. And both of those things are me. I am a very positive person, but there are things that just get me down. There are moments when I watch the news and I feel so sad, or I'll be out in public and a friend of mine will say something to me, or someone who's not such a friend will say something that makes me feel really sad. And then we know how that feels when you go to school and someone says something to you. Maybe they don't intend it, but it just knocks you down. And I feel that way sometimes, as we all do. And so for me, it's amazing that I have this art form to really work out these problems for myself and work out these conversations. And in doing that, I'm realizing that it brings people together. And there's lots of conversations I'm having right now during this coronavirus time that we're all alone I'm alone in my apartment. I'm not with my mom and my dad right now. And there are some times where I get really bored and really lonely, and I'm Mr. Nicholas in my mind, and here I am just bumping my head against the couch saying, there's nothing to do. What am I gonna do? And then I say, well then, Joshua, let's get up and let's do a little silly dance. Let's do something fun. And I think, oh God, I don't want to do a dance. I'm like, well, what if we tried it? And then I end up having a whole conversation by myself. But yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about my work with my puppets is I get to take my troubles and strifes here in life and put them into art and bring people together.
Oh, we do have a question from Mr. Nicholas, if he hasn't gone too far.
Yeah, okay, let me see. Yes, Mr. Nicholas, there's a question for you. All right, what?
Two things. Mary Alice wanted you to know that she thinks you're a great dancer.
Thank you, Mary Alice.
And also, do you have a favorite part of being in the Joshua show?
Me?
Yes, you.
I love when it's all over. No. What about during the show? Oh, during the show. Oh. Well, usually in all the shows, I have some sort of problem in it. And, I like the moments when you're there to help cheer me up. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Because that's what friends do for each other, don't they? Yeah, they do. Kind of warms me up. I can get very sad about things here in life, but having a friend like you certainly makes any problem a lot easier to manage. Well, I feel the same way about you. Yeah, so that's what I like about our show. It's a reminder of that, I suppose.
I like that. Thank you. Have you ever, Lisa wanted to know, do you ever go to visit children's hospitals to cheer up sick children?
Yes, we do. Where do we work, Mr. Nicholas? Sometimes Joshua and I go to the Ronald McDonald House. Oh, yes, we love the Ronald McDonald House. And we go to 4 different hospitals with a program called the Musical Magic Program. That's right. Joshua and myself and a 4-piece band, and we sing songs to kids in the hospital. That's right. And you know where we met all these people at Ronald McDonald House? At Camp Broadway. That's right. Camp Broadway years ago was going to do a program with the Boston Pops, and Sherry Miracle was auditioning kids at a studio, and she heard that I was a puppeteer, and she asked me if I wanted to come along and help them at the Ronald McDonald House. And it's been about 7 years now. Yes, it's been about 7 years we've been working for the Ronald McDonald House, which is so fun. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
All right, a couple more questions if you don't mind, Mr. Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, well, this might be from you or also from Mr. Joshua. Kristen wants to know if you could give one piece of advice for young people looking to enter the world of puppeteering, what would it be?
You know the answer to that. Yes, I would. If you want to get in the world of puppetry, I would say, depending on where you're from, I don't know where you're from, but there's something called puppet guilds. Yes, it's like a big nerdy puppet club. Yes, it's sort of like a big nerdy puppet club, but it is basically your local community of puppeteers, and it's a mix of amateur puppeteers and professional puppeteers. And Joshua is the king of the nerds here. No, I'm not the king of the. Oh, sorry, you're the president of the nerds. Yes, I'm the president of the Puppetry Guild of Greater New York. Oh, wow. If that's not going to get you a date, I don't know what. Oh, yes. Thanks, Mr.
Nicholas.
So I am the president of the Puppetry Guild of Greater New York, which has been around since 1964. And it is an amazing way to meet puppeteers and to engage with people of all different types of puppetry. So I would suggest getting into your local guild, look into that. And if not, then try to go see some puppet shows. Most puppeteers in our culture, we generally meet the audience afterwards. You're able to come up and see the puppets and see the sets and just ask some folks what you're interested in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. All right, last question. I'm so sorry. I wish I could take you for another hour. So the last question, Camp Broadway, our motto is develop your character. What does character mean to you? Either of you? Or both of you?
I'll take this one.
Okay.
When I was a little kid, I always thought that when I grow up, then that's it, and I'm done, and I thought I can't wait to be an adult. But now that I'm an adult, it doesn't get any easier.
No, it doesn't get any easier.
No. You're always changing, you're always learning, so I'd say that developing your character means to challenge yourself on the daily, to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. And hopefully whatever choices you're making, make this world a little bit nicer today than it was yesterday.
That is a fantastic answer.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's great.
All right.
Well, thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Thank you, Joshua. How can people follow you, find you throughout the social media?
Oh, through social media.
Oh, yes, through social media. You can go onto Instagram and follow The Joshua Show. You can go onto the internet,
the World Wide Web.
Yes, the World Wide Web. And you can look up
www.joshuashow.com. Yes, The Joshua Show is owned by someone else, and it's a very disappointing website.
Yes, so go to joshuashow.com, or Facebook. You can look up The Joshua Show on Facebook as well. And we have videos on YouTube, and we're going to start putting out some more stuff soon. So check us out there. And come to Camp Broadway and work with us. Anna and I are really fun to hang out with.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to follow all of Camp Broadway on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. Tomorrow, the one, the only Cindy Tolley, tomorrow at 1. She is fantastic, choreographer, professor. That doesn't even cover her at all, but come and join us tomorrow for a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.